In today's video, you'll be learning how to solve the integral of the square root of x squared plus 2x plus 1 over 6x plus 3. Now, we know that x squared plus 2x plus 1 is actually equal to the quantity of x plus 1 and all that squared. And to solve this integral right here, we actually want to use substitution here by making it u equal to x plus 1. Now, when we use substitution for x plus 1 here, what about 6x plus 3? Well, in order to do that, while all this might be may seem a bit of overkill, it's compressing this expression right now is actually going to help us solve it. It's going to make our life easier in the long run. Okay, so in order to account for 6x plus 3, we're going to actually write this as 6x plus 3 minus 3. Alright, and then we're going to combine the 3's here. Okay, and write this whole thing as 6x plus 6 minus 3. And now, as you can see here, we can write this as 6 times the quantity of x plus 1 minus 3, and as you can see here, u is equal to x plus 1. So we can substitute x plus 1 for u here. Okay, so let me just delete this, and we'll get right into solving it. All right, as I said earlier, u will be equal to x plus 1 here, and that would make du equal to dx. So first off, let's just write this integral how we want to. So x plus 1 squared, and then 6 times the quantity of x plus 1 minus 3. Okay, now let's do our substitution, and now we have u squared over 6u minus 3 du. Now, as you can see here, by doing the substitution, we're going to have a pretty simple term on the numerator, which is just u. So that's the beauty of doing the substitution as early as you can, over the square root of 6u minus 3 du. Alright, I'll be deleting all this so that we have more space again. Let me just move this up top. Alright, so now, in order to solve this right here, we're going to be doing another substitution. And yeah, let's not forget let's put in the corner here, our substitution was x plus 1. So now we're going to be using v as a substitution. So now, to sort of get rid of this part here, the square root of 6u minus 3, we're going to make v equal to that, so that it'll cancel out. Alright, so now v is equal to that. dv is going to be equal to 1/2 times 6u minus 3 to the negative 1/2 power times 6. And then this is equal to 3 times 6u minus 3 to the negative 1/2 power. And then all this is equal to 3 over the square root. Let me write that a bit better. So 3 over the square root of 6u over 3. Okay, so that means, yeah, so our dv is equal to this. Okay, so let me just delete our proofs here, our work. So yeah, let me just up here. Okay, so now, let me write the 3 back in. Now we have this, we can, I accidentally wrote dx here, it's supposed to be du. My bad. Okay, so now that we have our dv here, we can put it back in for, we can put du in for it. Okay, so before we put it back in, we got to solve for du itself. So we're going to have the square root of 6u minus 3 times dv over 3. Okay, so then when we plug this back in here, we're going to have the integral of one over 3. I'm going to put the 1 over 3 here. Okay, and then u times the square root of 6u dv. I'm just putting this back in here, all of it, over the square root, put the square root extended more so it's clear, over the square root of 6u minus 3. Now as you can see here, both of these terms here are both just equal to v, right? Which means that v over v is just equal to 1. So we can actually rewrite this as one over 3 of the integral of u times dv. Now you're probably thinking, how are we going to convert u in terms of dv? Well, we can just solve for it using this equation right here. Okay, which means that, here, let me delete our work here, so that I have more space again. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. So yeah, as you can see here, in order to solve for v, or solve for u, I mean, we can just square root both sides, so we're going to have v squared, or sorry, square both sides, so that we'll have v squared, and then, right, so this is going to be equal to 6u minus 3, and then add 3 to both sides and divide by 6, so then we'll have v squared plus 3 over 6, alright? So this is a very important equation with v's right now. Whoops. Alright. So then we'll put u back in, which means that this is going to be equal to, so 1 over 3 times 1 over 6, well, that's just going to be equal to 1 over 18, which means that our integral that we have to solve is just v squared plus 3 dv. Now, all of this is just going to be equal to 1 over 18 times v to the times 1/3 times v to the 3rd power times 3v plus c. So this is our answer in terms of v, okay? So now we have to, unfortunately, go through the pain of putting all this in terms of x now. So this will be equal to, well, let's simplify even more. So 1 over 54 v to the 3rd power plus 3 over 18 is going to be 1/6. Okay, so then plus c, and then all of this will just be equal to 1 over, I'm gonna plug everything back in now. So 1 over 54 plus, or times, the square root of 6 times u, put the parentheses here, I'll put the parentheses there so that it's more clear, times u, oh, my bad. So I'm putting u in, so it's going to be x plus 1 actually, not u plus 1. My bad there. Okay? So I substituted for u, now I'm substituting all the u's for the x's, so that we can put everything in terms of x. So that's why I did that. Okay? Minus Okay, so that is one part, and now for the next part, it will be the same thing, the same idea. So we'll have 1 over 6 times v, which is this. I'll put the parentheses here. Which is going to be equal to 6. Will be equal to 1 over 6 times the square root of the square root of 6 times x plus 1, okay, minus 3 plus c. Okay, so that is basically your answer, and now all we have to do is simplify it. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. We actually have to put a to the third power here, because as you can see here, that we have v to the third power. Okay, so that is your answer, right? So now let's actually simplify this. Let me delete all this stuff here. Okay, so when we simplify this, we're going to have 1 over 54 times the square root of 6x plus 3, and all that to the third power. Make sure I didn't forget it this time. And then plus 1 over 6 times the square root of 6x plus 3. Alright? And all that there, and then we have plus c. So that is our integral. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I did make mistakes by saying du instead of dx, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video.